Hi, we're back, and today we're going to look at another tapering elbow. We're going to look at the round to round, or just a round tapering elbow itself. No shape change in this one. We're just going round to round, but it's changing in ours. In our example here, from 6 inches at the base up to 4 inches over a 4-inch throat radius. Like most tapering elbows that we do, we're going to deal with this in the same way as we do just a standard elbow. We're going to make this one a 3-piece, because a 3-piece is much easier to deal with, much quicker process than it is to do 4, 5, 6 pieces. When we call that a multi-piece elbow, once we get past the 3. So pieces times 2 minus 2 to find our miter angle. Would be our starting point for this one. As well, another point on a tapering elbow is the end gores will always be laid out using parallel line. So parallel line, no change in those. All of the change happens within the middle gore itself. Okay. We'll also, when we get this drawn up in elevation view, you'll see that this one just ends up looking like a round on pitch. A round taper on pitch. So we've seen this fit in before. We just have to make sure that it's done in a way that it matches the end gores, because it's not quite going to be a 6-inch diameter by the time we get to that miter line, or 4-inch. It's going to lengthen out because of that cut on it. Okay, so let's get started. Let's draw a full elevation view, complete with all our element lines and profiles and everything we need on it. Okay, let's get started. You'll see I like to start mine by just drawing the baseline. Okay, I got my 6-inch opening, I got my 4-inch throat. I bring my 4-inch throat up vertical, and then draw my 4-inch opening. And then I just project those lines straight in. And now I'm going to go in with my miter line, and I'm going to establish where those lines will actually stop, where these verticals and horizontals I drew in actually stop. Okay, now I got my 2 end gores complete. I can go in now, and I'm just going to connect the throat and the heel with my straight edge and finish off the elevation view. Okay, so we got our elevation view. We got a good start on it anyways. We've gotten the full view drawn, profiles at each end, and element lines drawn in on the end gores. So we're going to label it. I like to label my rounds with numbers only, as you've seen before. We're going to zigzag 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll get odd numbers up top and even down below. And then that allows us to follow our line work, our element lines on the middle gore here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. So. Okay, that completes off our elevation view. We got everything we need now to develop all our patterns, besides getting into the difference in profile, which we're going to use for the middle gore. The outsides are parallel line again. Inside is triangulation by difference in profile. So we got our labeling, we got our element lines, we got everything we need to start at least those end gores. So let me scrub this guy off and let's get those end gores. Those, again, just done a regular round elbow using parallel lines. So multitude of ways, lots of different ways we can establish those patterns, but we need those first. We need to use the patterns for the middle gore. We need to use the end gores. So there's parts of it, step-offs primarily, The step-offs have to come from the end gore pattern, not the profile itself. And this is all for the middle gore here. So we need to get these laid out first. So let's do that. Okay, I got my two stretch outs ready, and I got them divided by 12. Next I can put some labeling on to match what I see on my elevation views, and then I can start and I'm going to just transfer my points in. So picking up an element line height and transferring it to the proper location. So let's put, because it's standard practice to put a seam on center of a round elbow. So let's put our seams where they belong. On the middle gore, the seam will be on the short side, and that would be standard practice for those fittings. But 0.7 for this one and 0.8 for this one here. So let's get labeled, and then we can transfer our points in. Okay, there's our two end gore patterns now. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, take away what I don't need here, so I have enough room to get my middle gore going inside there. So again, just standard parallel line. We're not doing anything different than we've done before here. So now we're going to get to the middle gore and develop this one out. And a lot of the procedures, almost all of them, are the same as any round on a pitch that we do with triangulation using difference in profile. So regardless of some of those some details that we'll see in a minute, this fitting, the same as the round on a pitch, we're going to start with vertical line 1, 2. Okay, so true length line 1, 2, it's an edge, it's an outside edge of a cone. So that means that we have true lengths there. I'm going to pick up line 1, 2, and I'm going to start with that vertical. Okay. Okay, so there we go, our starting point, vertical line 1, 2. Then we're going to go ahead and triangulate for point 3. So line 2, 3 is the next one we're going to deal with. And when I look at line 2, 3, I got my profiles that I have to deal with. Now normally the profile would be attached to this middle gore, or if this was just a cone on a pitch, it'd be attached to each end. In this case, we've projected that, we pulled that profile out until to the end gore. But keep in mind that we've used parallel line here. So remember, the profile is showing us the depth of the fitting here, right? It's showing us how far it comes off my whiteboard, how deep it is. And because we've used parallel line, that fitting is true the whole way. So at 0.7, my profile is this high at the end gore. It would be sticking out of the board this far. It's the same here, because no transition, no taper or anything has occurred here. So the depth here at the end is the same depth as we see at this point here. Thus we can use the end profiles for our difference in profile. So again, no profile at 0.2. We have this whole profile at 0.3. So again, just like that round, when we see the second line of when we start developing, we're going to take all of this profile with nothing taken off of it. And where I'm going to move my line, normally we would just rotate this line up to a base here, is I'm going to just pick it up, line 2, 3. And And I'm going to transfer it from the difference in profile, which in this case is all 3. And I'm going to transfer it right here. And let me actually switch colors so that we don't get mixed up with all the red within that profile itself that's already red. So again, pick up line 2, 3. From the difference, I'm going from this point, this 90 here. This is the corner that I'm using as my true length diagram. So we're not coming from point 1. We want to come out all the way out where point 3 is. Okay? And I swing that guy up there. Now I have the length of line 2, 3, 90 degrees to the difference in profile, and the hypotenuse of that gives me my true length. So I pick up the true length from the outside, the difference in profile, all the way to my point I've swung off. And that's point 3. So I swing that arc off. Now, the next step is one of our big changes. Normally we're going from point 1 to 3 to complete point 3. We would take a step off right here. Okay? But we can't this time, because what we know is, even though this hasn't changed depth here, because we've cut it on an angle, the length of that stretch out has gotten longer. Okay, so we had our stretch out here of the piece, which is the flat here. But now the stretch out where the miter line is the length of this curved line. Okay, and we know that the middle gore, the top of the middle gore, has to be the exact same length as the miter line, as this line here. So that means my true 1-3 is right here, slightly longer than it would be 1-3 here. It's not a standard 1/12 division. We need to take our step-offs from the miter line of the pattern of the end gore. Okay, and you can compare that on your drawing. Go ahead and pick up 1-3 here and compare it to 1-3 here. They'll be different. This one should be slightly longer. Okay, so 1-3, swing that from 1, and there's point 3. Okay? Now we're just going to repeat. We're going to go through that process to finish the whole cone off. Okay, so next line, 3, 4. I got a profile here. I got a profile here. I'm going to first take my small profile to my bigger one and tick it off. That leaves my difference here. Now I take the length of line 3, 4 and bring it down to that corner. Okay, so here's my length. Here's the difference in profile. The hypotenuse is our true length. So that's 3, 4. Okay, 2, 4 for our step off. And there's point 4. 4, 5. Pick up profile 4. Again, I'm taking it to the larger of the two. I can visually see that 5 is bigger than 4 is. So I took 4, I take it up to 5. I then take the element line. Okay, now that's fine. I've extended past my my view, my elevation view of the end gore. I'm just going to project that line a little bit longer so that I can grab my difference there. Okay, so the length of the line came here. That's 4, 5. Okay, so I bring it up. Remember, from this corner, my difference in profile is here. So again, hypotenuse becomes the true length. 3, 5 for my step off. and there's 0.5. 5, 6. Take profile 5 down to 6. So there we go, our completed pattern. I'm just going to fill in the line work. Connect 13, 14. There we go. We got a tapering elbow, round to round tapering elbow. Thanks.